Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year, and welcome to Shawnee Grows, where I encourage everyone, all the humans, to learn as you grow. Tonight's topic is called Hunger Gap. What is it? How do we plan for it? Team Replay, what do you grow for storage to eat before the spring comes? Tell us in the comments below. Let's see who's in the chat with us tonight. We have Creative Redundancy. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Yes, Happy New Year. Mike's Chaotic Gardening chose rotation. We have a poll going. Rotation and companion planting. And the poll put him as his answer was soil is the most important thing. I'm so sorry that the poll decided for you what your answer should be. Storms, Radios, and Cats, good evening. Raspberry Rock Off-Grid Crabbin, so good to see you. Too bad there are only 4 options on polls. I'd say the most important is learning everything you can about the thing you're planting. If it's tomatoes, how to deal with blossom rot. So many problems pop up. The thing you're saying here about the blossom rot on the tomatoes, it depends on what type of gardening mindset you have when you're coming into growing food. So for example, if you are more an adaptive agriculture mind, the answer to the blossom end rot is that variety of tomato is not in the grow list for your environment, for your locale, for your method of growing. That whatever that's called, that tomato, the name of it is out. It's not on the grow list. But the thing about growing in the north is we have a little tiny window of growing. So if you only have that variety of tomato and you want to have a harvest this year, that's when we get out our little box of, well, what do we add to the soil to make it so this doesn't happen on the next flush of fruit that comes on the plant, right? Let's see. South Florida Sunshine is here. Excited about the topic. Going to try and stay up to support from the bleachers. We'll watch the replay. If you miss anything, love it. The replay is available forever. Enjoy being. Welcome to this. Good afternoon. It's a bit of a trick question in the poll, and I cannot decide. I guess some of it would depend on location. My first inclination is always soil health, but growing the right stuff also matters. Excuse me. I think it is a trick question in the poll. We can talk about that more as we go. Remember to hit the like button. Carol says, I agree, catch 22. I said soil. It always comes down to soil health for me and the dang bugs and diseases here. Then whatever I decide to grow and how. Also the weather, duh. And ours is confusing the crud out of my plants. Food forest permaculture is here. Healthy soil means plants, plate, person. Happy New Year, Earthling. So good to have you here with all your knowledge. Howie. And Joy Being says, yes, where I am, it is temperate with only a few weeks to a month where there may be a light frost. Soil health and seeds naturalized to the location will increase the volume of harvest during the best times of season and give the plants a defense against bugs and disease. Facts. Carol will be right back. Storms is having a conversation with a kitty cat. I said Miss Sharon is here, so everyone needs to behave. There is her name. Awesome, Maud. Thank you for spending time with us this evening. Make sure you're in live chat, all messages, so you can participate here. Rebel Canners, what are you doing here? Hello. We are going to talk about all the different ways to preserve. So whatever knowledge you want to share in the chat is welcome here. Dave Knight, look for this dot. Dave Knight has good tips too on how to grow for season extension, which is part of the Hunger Gap conversation. Enjoy being and how we are talking to each other. Shadow Scout Swede, good morning. It is good to see you again as well, my friend. Happy New Year. Hope your weather's the way you want it to be. Oh, you heard, yeah, some rock and roll, Russell. Poll was our aggro. Everybody's saying hi. Check out each other's channels. Sharon's doing links. soil will grow the right stuff. Good night, Rebel Canners. Thanks for stopping in. Catch the replay. Chef Tech 86. Hello. He also has fun ways to preserve food that would benefit you in the Hunger Gap season. So check out his channel. What does this say? Spoil health? Mike's cat at gardening. In bushes, listening a minute. Cooking my eggs. You're cooking some eggs, huh? Okay, I'm at the bottom. I said hi to everybody. Back to the conversation of this Hunger Gap business. So we're going to define it with a picture, right? Why not? So this hunger gap is, for me, during the early spring when the stored crops might be running low and the fresh fruits and veggies are not available yet. So for me, that's from March to May for my zone 4B/5A. If you're in the southern hemisphere, please chime in. I'm assuming it's August, September, but it might actually be when it's too hot to grow outside, because that is something that happens in tropical areas, possibly. I don't know. I don't live there. Is there such a thing as a month where you can't grow food in those areas? I'm not sure. Winter is a time for eating meat. If you eat meat, having your ferments. If you live by the ocean, you have a huge advantage in this hunger gap conversation because you can be going and getting food all the time. I do not live by an ocean. We do have hunting, so I have to kind of plan ahead. We have different categories when we're talking about the hunger gap. We have your storage in house, storage in ground, perennials, growing indoors, foraging, and things that quick grow in the spring as soon as the ground is workable. So for our storage in house, there is a page I can show here. We're talking about your jars of things that's water bath canned, pressure canned, pickled, fermented, your dried goods, things that are frozen, freeze dried, anything in a cellar or a cool, dry place, the fridge and crates. This is an article talking about how they avoid the hunger gap, and they do have this beautiful picture of things that they've saved. So they are using season extension here. They have a polytunnel growing. It says Aberdeen. I'm not sure where that is, though. Now, growing in their polytunnel, they have purple sprouting broccoli, kale, Asian greens, and then they speak about preserving. So your jams, jellies, chutney sauces, which we spoke about. And then they do share that they are foraging for spring greens. So as well with the dried, for the stuff with the jars, we also have dried. So that can be tea blends. That can be beans that you've dried, your southern peas, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, peppers, spices. You have grains category, your amaranth, oats, buckwheat, millet, wheat rye, quinoa, corn, popcorn, flint. You have things that you've grown and cured. So pumpkin, winter squash, yams, sweet potatoes, garlic, ginger, onions, potatoes, beets, carrots, apples, cabbage, rutabaga, parsnips, leeks, horseradish, celery root. Oh my. What if you don't have a root cellar? How are you going to store these things in your house? Going back to the chat, to figure out where I left off. Twin Brook Acres, welcome to our discussion about the hunger gap. How is your weather? Enjoy Being says, here in New Zealand, we have a few different zones. I'm in temperate, further north is subtropical, and we have land with snow in this season during winter. Carol says, Happy New Year to all who made it in. Please remember to hit the like. Check out all our lives where we discuss wonderful things. There's Kentucky Goblin. Good to see you. Welcome. How's the weather? Silly Lily. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Food forest permaculture. Underground food like, is it yacon? Potatoes, donjing, oca, sunchokes, think tubers, as that will get you through your hungry gap. Winter squash, many kinds, store well. Carol says, my brother and sister-in-law travel a lot to Enjoy Being's country. Store it under the house. Yeah, let's talk about what do we do if I don't have a root cellar? Costco, Dave, Costco is your secret. Oh, the point of this conversation is pretending we're doing this all on our own with our community, whether that's us, our hands growing it, our neighbors growing it, our local farmers growing it, not Costco. Leave in ground until needed. Works best for me in this temperate climate. The ground is nature's refrigerator for you, right? Enjoy Being says it is usually the 2 months during June, July when growth is down to maybe some radishes will germinate. September we'll see cabbage and other brassica ready to harvest. It's a very strange season now. Okay, I love the information. Thank you. June, July is the more. Okay, Russell, how do you store a pumpkin? Spring, jack-o'-lanterns are underrated. Sipping? Let's talk about the ways we store things here in a minute. Well, warm, I guess. Oh, your weather's warm? Carol is saying to Howie, that's what you told me. The tubers, yes. Taro, sweet taters, and yams. That's right. Randall says you can store under the house. There's plenty of room. GT Jr. Grows at Alaska came to join us for our Hunger Gap conversation. Share how your weather is. Spring. Spring was the word. Okay. It's you can have your keyboard adjusted there, Russell. Okay. So first, let's talk about the storage guide, and then I'm going to share ideas on, I don't have a root cellar, now what? So the links to the articles that I'm showing below are in the description, so you can read these at your own time. What this guide is talking about is it names the crop, like beets, and it gives me a description of what type of environment it wants. So cold and moist. It tells you when to harvest. Before the first hard freeze, it says. You can trim the tops to 1/4 inch in length. Cut the taproot. The beets keep 3 to 5 months when stored at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 to 100% humidity. And then on the side, it even gives me a name. Merlin Organic Beet is what they grew in this article for storage. And then it just continues on. It goes to carrots, celeriac root, cold and moist. Bolario is the carrot pictured here. Kohlrabi, cold and moist. This is a picture of the celeriac down here. So for the kohlrabi, it stores 2 to 4 months, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 to 100% humidity. It tells you how to prepare it, when to harvest it. This is the picture of kohlrabi. It says Cossack over here. Next article talks about parsnips. Does anybody eat parsnips around here? I've had them. Here's the picture down here of parsnips. Potatoes, cold and moist. Place in mesh bags, crates, or vented boxes. Store in dark, cool, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 95% humidity. They store for 5 months or more with proper conditions. Excellent storage include Yukon Gold, Kennebec, Elba, Pinto Gold. Rutabaga. Tells you how to do all the things with rutabaga. Anybody in here grow rutabaga? Sweet potatoes, cool and moderately moist. They can store for 7 months or more. Here's the picture of the sweet, mild Laurentane rutabaga. The potatoes right here with these spots, it says it's called Pinto Gold, and I have not seen that. It's like red and russet together, or red and Yukon Gold together. I've never heard of such a thing. Turnips, cold and moist. 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 to 100% humidity, 4 to 5 months. They're talking about the purple top, white globe turnip. Their category next is alliums, leeks, cold and moist. You have different early leeks grow faster, mid-season leeks are ready in the fall, and then your late leeks are ready in the late fall, early winter to store. They can be held in the field and harvested as needed. The mahone yam was this picture for this well, it has the name yam in it, and then it says organic sweet potato. I don't like that. Purple top white globe turnip is 4 to 5 months under cold, moist conditions. Bandit is the leek they spoke about being stored in the field into winter. Onions, cold and dry. There's the picture of Bandit. Onions, cold and dry. Use mesh bags or crates or vented boxes. Don't put them with potatoes or other root crops that emit moisture. They can do 4 to 6 months. And the thing about this stuff, guys, is when you have it in storage, you need to look at it. You need to go through it weekly to make sure if there's one bad egg in there, you got to get it out because it's going to tell the other things to start rotting. Shallots, cold and dry. Brassicas, Brussels sprouts. Cabbage, cold and moist. Divino is this Brussels sprout. Cucurbits. So this is the specialty ornamental pumpkins. It says cool and dry. So you want the skin to be cured in the sun for 5 to 7 days, or in a window if you need to get it out of the field because of frost coming. So the way to cure it inside is 80 to 85 degrees with good air for 5 to 7 days. And then your skin is going to become dull and hard so you can't poke your fingernail through it. And the way to store it is 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, with 50 to 70% relative humidity and good ventilation. The varieties they're recommending is Long Island cheese, Muscat de Provence, Baby Bear. Muscat de Provence is the classic keeper that's pictured here. And for those asking, the cabbage is Promise, is what it's talking about for storage, because there's cabbage that grows fast to eat fresh, and there's cabbage for storage. Your winter squash and pie pumpkins, same conversation. Skin needs to be cured, needs to be stored 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. You have the best potential and timing for eating when you have the right variety, quality, type. This picture is a Waltham butternut. Any of the butternuts are good. The rule of thumb is consume small fruited varieties first, and then move up to your bigger ones. So let's say you don't have a root cellar. Find a cool, dry place in your house. If any room in your house stays below 60 degrees Fahrenheit but above freezing, if you have a closet on an outside wall, if you can section off the coolest corner of the house, they say cellar or attic in the sentence. Do you have an unheated mudroom or entryway? Then they say picnic coolers, clean metal garbage can with insulation in an unheated garage or shed. So the reason they're usually using picnic coolers or a clean metal garbage can is to keep from animals getting in there and eating your harvest, and then waterproofing it. So I'm sure there's lovely tips in the chat. Creative Redundancy says takes the cold and keeps on beating. Shadow Scout Swede has to get some more coffee. Be right back. Chef Tech 86, parsnips are great in fermented kimchi. Oh, in kimchi? Because the only thing I always hear about is steaming and roasting and mashing the parsnips. So that's a fun tip. Carol's talking to Enjoy Being. Your zone sounds similar to the States. I know with Oz it's similar too. All different types of climates and areas similar to U.S. growing zones. Dave Knight says 5-gallon pail filled with sand in layers for beets and carrots. Love that tip. I've seen it in Rubbermaid totes. I think the sand has to be damp, and then a layer of carrots or beets. Sand, layer of carrots, beets, sand. I have seen that on the YouTube, but I've never done that. I keep my stuff for carrots and beets. I put them in a fridge. So some of us have an extra beer fridge laying around. Put your veggies in there, okay? That's the third time I had to refresh my page. What? I'm sorry you're having technology problems, Barry. Carol says, I like them roasted in a pan when they caramelize. How do you chop them for kimchi? Does it matter? I wonder if it's like mandolin sliced. Or is it matchsticks? Food Forest Permaculture says, salt, sugar, vinegar is your best friend for storing most any food for your hungry gap. CR had some green onions earlier. Raspberry Rock says, okay, new poll, worst vegetable ever. It may not actually be a vegetable. Start that off with Brussels sprouts. Sound off in the chat. Worst vegetable ever. Or not actually a vegetable. Name your poison. Food Forest Permaculture have that squash. One of the squashes I showed. Silly Lily likes the butternut squash. Yes, I have a Waltham butternut here, and then I also grew little, is this one? Little ones. So there's honey nut and butterbush. So let's say no one else in your family of 5 likes squash. I have that problem. I just grow little personal sized ones, so I don't have to figure out what to do with a big mama over there. Your climate is very similar to Vancouver Island, says Howie to enjoy being. Russell says, I rock. Mike's, I'm lucky to have a finished basement. So is that where you're keeping things? Is your finished basement? And do you monitor temperature and humidity? Gear! Gryden 19. How's it going? Brussels sprouts are delicious. Well, how are you eating them? Are you shredding them raw for a salad, Gear? Shadow Scout Suite is back. Indeed, Howie, I think you were right, though we can grow citrus reasonably easily. Wonderful. Kentucky Goblin says, under the house is the best place to store if you don't have a cellar. Russell says, the only good use for Brussels sprouts is to freeze them and then launch them by sling at your enemy. That's a good idea, actually. Frozen ice balls of Brussels sprouts? You know, worst category, because Mike's even saying they are disgusting. Carol says, I like roasted Brussels sprouts with bacon, a bit of butter, salt, and pepper. I'm planning to plant pepperoni this spring on a pizza or two. Gear says, Happy New Year back at ya. Enjoy Being says, I never liked Brussels sprouts, but grew some purple ones last year. When you cook them, do they turn green? Or do they stay purple? With some in the garden nearing harvest as we speak. They're delicious. Brussels sprouts are one of those crops where if a frost kisses them, they taste better. Slay Lily says, I have that issue. Hubby doesn't like it, so honey butternut it is then. Exactly. Because what am I going to do with a giant one? Well, if you're feeding a large family, you should grow the giant squash, right? CR might need a snack. Gear says, Brussels sprouts, roasted with bacon grease, pepper, and garlic. Okay. Your wife eats them like candy? What? And then she's got like Brussels sprout breath. Russell, the only people who like Brussels sprouts are those that cook them with 15 other ingredients and taste way better and hide the sprouts so you can't even tell that they're in there. I agree. Apparently Barry likes Brussels sprouts. I imagine they are good for you. So now that we've talked about our in-house things that we've grown over the year and stashed away, we can use the ground as nature's refrigerator, as Howie mentioned before, and we can use season extenders. So there's things like carrots, turnips, beets, sunjokes, or Jerusalem artichokes. Leeks are things we've mentioned. So when we're looking at season extenders, I think I have links in the description for different cold frames, polytunnels, caterpillar tunnels, hoop houses. We have talked about those before in the live stream about winter greenhouses. And you also have this category of storage in ground to then harvest in March. So in some climates, you can plant things in fall, have them mature. They kind of just stay dormant in the ground through winter. And then in March, when everything heats back up again, they put on growth. So if you had kale, it would produce a flower and you could eat that flower shoot. Swiss chard, broccoli, purple sprouting broccoli. You harvest the one head and then you leave it to grow, and it has side shoots that come up of like little mini broccolis or broccolinis. Parsley will be coming up. Cilantro, that's what the list said. Does anyone have any experience with cilantro being in the ground, going dormant and coming back alive? And then fava beans, the broad beans. Those are more cold tolerant, I hear, and I believe I was told you can eat the leaves as well. So we have an article that kind of also talks about what I just said about storing things in the ground. They are talking about kale. They had celery until the hard freeze arrives. So here in 4B, 5A, Minnesota, things get way too cold to be keeping them just all naked outside like that. Now, we can keep carrots in the ground to a point, but if the ground is frozen hard, how am I going to get the carrots out? You know what I mean? Chard, parsley. Parsley comes back with a vengeance here. It's wonderful. It goes to seed on the second year, makes beautiful flowers. Leeks. Cardoon. Anybody know what cardoon is? It says it goes through light frost. The leaves will wilt and then spring back up as the day warms. But if you haven't grown cardoon before, remember to blanch it or it's horrid. Well, I feel like that's on the don't grow list then. There's ways to keep things in your garden storage refrigerator by using straw bales. Carrots and parsnips, you put the heavy mulch on, keeps them warmer, dig them out. And then harvesting and storing them. They talked about your garage, if it stays above freezing, or then you add that extra layer of the trash can with some kind of straw or insulation. Again, you need to keep it sealed so rodents don't start moving in. A cooler area in your basement. They have the word clamp here. It says traditional way or insulating harvested root vegetables outdoors using soil and straw. They call it clamping. Okay. Sunroom that stays above freezing. A breezeway. What is that? Oh, the between the house and the garage. Oh, I don't have that. That's fancy. This is a picture of Swiss chard. And then attic. Carrying food up to the attic is not ideal. Like, why are we even saying that? Root crops can go into perforated plastic bags or into moist sand or sawdust in crates. That prevents them from drying out. Newspaper comes in handy too. Covered trays of green tomatoes with a sheet of newspaper. Wrap cabbages in newspaper. I've also seen people wrap apples in newspaper. And only store produce that is not blemished or bug hole filled or nicked and cracked. You need to check. Like I said earlier, you have to check your stuff. Okay, cardoon is awesome. They grow almost wild here. I don't know what that is even. Like what? So we're using it how? Like in a soup? Worst thing I grew in 24 was eposoti reeks like gas. Episode, am I saying that right? Reeks like gas, a food that reeks like gasoline? Like when it's raw or when it's cooked? Oh, I missed Jamaica? Can I not go up enough? Where is it? There you are. Hello! Welcome to the Hunger Gap conversation. Brussels sprouts are the cacti of the tree world? The ground is frozen in CR's world. Purple Brussels don't have the acrid smell? Now we're talking about corn. What did I miss up here? Brussels sprouts are the pugs of the dog world? Chef Tech's given cooking advice. He's a trained chef. Simmer in a good beer Oh, for 20 minutes. Russell, have you tried this? Strain and slice in half, place on the tray, drizzle olive oil, sprinkle chopped garlic, salt, pepper, roast 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes until golden. Well, it starts with beer, so bananas, mulberries. You might as well just eat the bacon. They stay purple but fade, like the purple cabbage. Okay. I wondered. Squash freeze well, cut up and freeze if it's too big. Yes. Okay, back to where I was over here. Ground is frozen, Jamaica, cardoon, the episote thing. I grow many cardoon. They reach 8 to 10 feet. I only grow them for the amazing dried flowers, but also the flowers when they first scent the purple stamen can be used as a rennet for goat cheese. Wow. I imagine you can chop and drop it and feed the soil with that much, if it's 10 feet tall. I wrap apples in caramel dip, says Gear. So does my children. Today is the warmest temp all week, 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It was 17 right now, it says degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what it was today, but it's getting cold with the wind chill. It's going to be cold. It's January. It's just the normal thing around here. And I'm really hoping we get a snowstorm on Sunday. It's going to be snow for some people, ice for some people, and tornadoes for some people. So check your forecast. Silly Lily, roast your Brussels sprouts with garlic Parmesan cheese, salt, pepper, crispy and delicious. Well, cheese is good. South Florida sunshine. I'm trying to figure out when our food gap is in the tropics actually now. Right. Yeah. Is there some kind of like we can't grow food during this time at all? Does it exist? Raw. I like an artichoke. What food farmers broke out like an artichoke? What's the raw? Okay, Russell says, what did you plant this year that totally failed? Share in the comments. It's an herb used in Mexican cuisine. Oh, that smelly thing. Okay. It smelled like gasoline raw, and it's an herb used in Mexican cuisine. Okay. And I'm guessing it's on the don't grow list now. There is a cilantro alternative, but it's strong and gross. Cilantro? Miss Sharon says to Russell, most everything except squash, okra, peppers, and tomatoes. This is Russell's Brussels sprout recipe. Cook bacon, ham, mushroom, garlic, onions, maple spam. Ugh. Fry in a pan. Fry for 5 minutes. Drizzle shredded cheese. Eat while throwing Brussels sprouts at your enemies. Chef Tech 86. All veggies will freeze dry. Some you need to blanch. Some raw, then powdered. No, says Barry. The coffee plant is on death's door. Okay. I will pass on all those. Don't want to shovel or salt or dodge tornado. Nope. I'm out. Barry says, bad enough it's 31 degrees Fahrenheit now and cold all day. Let's not encourage Jack Frost. It's coming. What did you do to Frost? They're talking about cardoons, artichoke thistle. All right. So we talked about using the ground. Let's talk about perennials. So the perennials that possibly will sprout really early in the spring are asparagus, hosta, rhubarb, chives, bunching onions, walking onion greens. And then let's talk about blanching. So there's this term called blanching. And I can show an example where you put a container over the perennials, like the ones I just named. And it has a little hole in the top so like sunlight can get through. and it reaches up towards the hole for the light. So like she took a regular rhubarb plant that was just emerging from the ground. She's forcing the rhubarb using blanching. She's going to take this container off and then you see what the plant did. You see that? How long everything is? So it's a way to get like a longer stalk. So that was rhubarb. And then I'm trying to get it to the next. Oh, there it goes. So this is the hostas. So you can eat before it like opens its leaves, the shoot thing for the hosta, you like pan fry it in butter. So she blanched that. So she's gonna take her bucket off. I thought you had to have holes in it, but this one doesn't look like it has holes in it. So I guess do your own research. So here she takes it off and boom, look at it, reached up. Isn't that cool? So now she can harvest that bunch. Is there any more? Oh, lovage. Does anybody grow lovage? Let's see what that looks like when you blanch it is the term that they're using for this growing method. Lovage is what she forcing lovage. It reached up, so now you have more stalk to harvest and eat. And this channel is in the description. I don't know what Good King Henry is, but she did that too. She has all these different looking pots. Has anybody ever done this? Forcing and blanching a perennial? This is called Good King Henry. It's little. So whatever that is. Pretty cool. Sea kale was the other thing she talked about in this. Oh, did she blanch asparagus? Or is she just talking about growing it? She's just talking about growing it. Okay. Oh, I wish this would stay in the chat where, okay, I read the coffee plant and the weather and the frost. Okay, my watermelon and pumpkin failed, got caught in a surprise frost. Oh, no. Hosta is pretty good. Grilling the harvest is an entire series in itself. There's so many things that are just escalated into a whole nother flavor profile when you grill it. And I did not know that when it still spears. Kentucky Goblin says, is it time for me to put on my shirt or wait? What did I miss? What? Russell says, end the poll and start another one? That's a lot of typing. What am I going to type as the poll? Are you going to type it for me? Here you must boil a Mexican spinach chaya. It has cyanide, but you can then dehydrate it, and it's the deepest, most beautiful green powder, and I dehydrate more moringa and use it on my family's foods. It's growing magic. Wait, what? What did she do to the rhubarb? Really? I thought only deers ate hostas. We can too? Blows my mind. Yeah, people can eat them. You either like Brussels sprouts or not. Beets taste like candy or dirt. Cilantro tastes great or dish soap is usually what I hear. He's saying stink bug. Asparagus makes your pee stink or not. Sorta mild asparagus flavor sunshine. It's nice. Rhubarb by itself is nasty. Scott, welcome to the Hunger Gap conversation. How's your weather? Yeah, I've seen people just here's my rhubarb. And I'm like, I've made syrups, barbecue sauce, strawberry rhubarb pie, and jam. Those are the methods of eating rhubarb that I'm familiar with, not just raw from the field. You will jump on board to scorn broad beans. I did not get the broad beans to grow because I planted them too late and then they got hit by frost, so I never had beans. First you've heard of it. Yuck, says enjoy being. You can blanch asparagus spears. And you guys notice like the color um, was blanched, like white versus whatever color it's supposed to be. Mike says like 1 in 10 people got the asparagus stinks gene. I got it. It's delicious, but makes pee reek. CR says interesting. South Florida Sunshine says, okay, I need to find one that will grow here. I don't see them here. I love the look of them. In PA, they are invasive. At Mike's, a trap crop for my aunt and uncle for the deers. Hostas, yeah, deer eat hosta. Kentucky Goblin, I think it's cold enough to put on my shirt now. Okay. Mad Chick Acres is Chef Tech. Don't let him confuse you. Yes, because it's him. Me. He's 2 channels. This is the other channel. Check him out. It's snowing? Oh. Yeah, I hope we get snow on Sunday because all our snow is gone because it rained it all away. Yellow beets are more sweet to me, just like yellow tomatoes. Yeah, golden beets are delicious. I do like golden beets. My wife can't smell it. Mike. Destiny Fitzgerald, welcome to the Hunger Gap party. We've got a rhubarb that will not die. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to water it. You don't have to do anything. It'll just be there for 30 years. Of course, our Siberian kale always looks like it ain't that cold when it's minus 20 Celsius. Siberian kale sounds very hardy. Does it get tall like a tree? There's kale that are like taller than 5 feet, 4 feet. Enjoy being. I have this habit of sowing seeds and then planting out half of them. Like I have about 200 asparagus plants in pots and trays. It's amazing how hardy they are under severe neglect. Wow. Oh, there was a typo in there. I'm sorry. I don't know. Destiny says the Victorian Kitchen Garden BBC series had a great episode on the lean season. They were so creative. Oh, everyone should make a note of that. Pants and socks first. A hat? You lose heat out of your head. Snow is a bad word. Frozen white rain is what CR says we're going to call it. Wife says beets taste like dirt. My house is in the shade, so I still got patches of snow. Yeah. I like beets. New poll, what percentage of your animal produce consumption is from your own garden? Oh, that's math. Do you guys like this question, or is it too hard to figure out? Here, everyone answer that question. I'm not going to start another poll. It's very small amount. I would love it to be 75%, but I haven't mastered the whole eating with the seasons, eating what I grow. I still like buy a bunch of stuff at the grocery store, right? My goal for 2025 is to reduce that down. I have this giant land of growing opportunity. So having successful crops and having the timing right, I want to be able to harvest food every week. Are you swearing at me right now? Oh my goodness, Russell. So the poll we have going is, what do you think is the most important factor for growing enough food year-round in your garden? Choosing the right crops, crop rotation and companion planting, greenhouses or cold frame, soil health. It's kind of everything. Everything matters, right? You have to have the right soil. You have to choose the timing right. The crops has to have the successful harvest. You have to store it correctly and use it correctly. I don't think I can copy paste from this, can I? Not over here on StreamYard. Can you copy paste and... No, I still have to type everything. Okay, talk amongst yourselves while I do this. We have more to talk about. We have animals that have reseeded themselves, so they're like a perennial, but they're not. They just showed up. That might be ready in the spring. And then I feel like it counts if you go to the farmer's market and shop local farms or CSA boxes. I feel like that counts. So 0 to 25. No, 0, 0. Okay. I'm not a master typer like Russell Pants. I didn't do that one right. What is this one supposed to say? 50 to 75. Okay, new poll. Bam. I did it. 50, 50. Well, you can't see. It's the same person. Kentucky Gumwood says no math. Destiny says 50. Yeah, and then another thing that I want to do is actually weigh stuff. So I have a scale for my kitchen, and I don't know if, and then I have like the foot scale for your whole body, but I want to actually weigh the things coming in. Red beets taste like dirt. A Greek salad with the greens, olive oil, salt, and lots of garlic in a mason jar helps. Juicing with carrots, apple, and ginger. Beets are dirt. I did roast sugar beets. They were tasty cooked, disgusting raw. Does anyone know how to keep celery crisp until the lean season? Ours goes so limp so quick. How are you going to use the celery? If you're eating it with peanut butter, I don't know. I know that you can cut it and keep it in a mason jar with water. You change the water every week in the fridge. If you are going to use it for a mirepoix, like your celery, carrot, onion, or if you're going to use it in a soup, stewy situation, you just freeze it. Just cut it up and freeze it. But the chat can chime in on that. Raw, they tasted like a mixed saccharin and dirt. So I'm probably saying that wrong. Enjoy being. I probably give away 75% of what I grow. I like growing food more than eating the food, which I need to work on. I like that you're honest. Dave Knight says 75% with the greenhouse of your own produce. Fantastic. I think once my fruit trees are producing, my number's going to shoot up. South Florida Sunshine says, I prefer the most food for the least input. Smarter, not harder. It all begins with soil. Soil is everything. When you have good soil, you will be well fed. Mike says now is 50%, but trying to get to 75 and 25. Yeah, in 2025, okay, I guess I can say it's now. This year, I really want to eat what I grow and have a lot for my family. That's right. It's hard to let food rot or just go in the compost after you spent so much time making the dang thing grow. Exactly. It's really nice when you can give to people and they appreciate and use it. South Florida Sunshine says, I need a nanny to keep my son from unplanting things so I can get to that place and maybe a ton of beneficial insects. Why not 0 to 25? Did I not? Okay, that's what it's supposed to say. Pretend it says 0 to 25 because I don't think does it say edit on here? Nope, it just says end poll. 2% says Gear. My garden this year will have flowers in rows along with other stuff. Good plans. Silly Lily's talking to Howie about, it's all about the biology. And then Mike also chops and freezes celery. 0 to 25 is one option like the others. Yeah, I'm saying number one is 0 to 25 for anybody that didn't hear that. That word is sweeter in tab soda. It's a sweetener in tab. Okay. Oh, Russell looks at celery and laughs. Randall says a big flower garden is what I would like to see. If I don't eat it fresh, I can it or freeze dry it. Choose on dry apple. Russell needs a nanny? Different types of flowers just to look at. Black, fluffy, spongy soil is my favorite, and I make it in hashtag pathway soil bank like the Mayans did. I want freeze-dried apple slices, says Mike. Gear says marigolds and cherry tomatoes for 2025. Probably not going to mess with trying cukes again. Did you have a bad year? Or do you not eat cucumbers? Do you not want to make pickles? Destiny said, no, South Florida Sun just says, ugh. Carol says, Destiny. I cut it and put it in a mason jar with filtered water, change out water. Can cover top of the celery with a plastic bag to store in fridge ready to eat. Scott says, curious how much families consume in a year. I mean, I think we can agree that all of us don't eat enough fresh fruits and vegetables for our servings. In a week, our diet should include 20 to 40 different fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts in a week for us to have good gut health. So write it down, keep track. In 1 week, is there 20 to 40 different fruits, vegetables, whatever I said. The pink packet at the diner. Oh, okay. What's a nanny? Okay, everyone. What's your most anticipated veggie for 2025? For me, I love me those tomatoes. Are you only growing red tomatoes? Or do you grow other colors, Russell? Gear. Carol says to Gear, happy and healthy new year. Scott says, I'm curious how much honey people utilize per year. Well, I buy them local Minnesota. How many pounds is this? 3 pounds. And if I'm making mead, this whole thing is for 5 gallons. 1 gallon? How big is my... No, I'm blanking. How many gallons that is. So just for that alone. And then I make fermented honey blends. Check out my video. There's 5, 6 jars of those going. And then my kids put honey on their yogurt. Honey can go in everything. So we go through a lot of honey. Nanny is a professional babysitter. A nanny is someone who rubs my tummy while I eat. See, I thought you were talking like a nanny to organize your life over there. Gear says, haven't had much luck with cukes in a few years. Brother-in-law grows more cukes than they know what to do with, but they grow in ground. Yeah, you're a container gardener. Well, that's the fantastic thing about networking is someone you know grows them better. Just let them grow them better and make a trade. Can I get a nanny, or is that something I should talk to my wife about? You do whatever would pleases you, Randall. You know how the system works in your household. Enjoy being. I have a large area of garden, but it's not as full or productive as it could be. I have been concentrating mainly on turning the chest-high grass field into said garden. Lots of chop and drop grass going on, sounds like. Feel better, Gear, says Carol. Mike says, yum, chef, I'm jealous. Russell says, there are other colors of tomatoes? Yeah. Yeah. It's not witchcraft, it's genetics. There's ways to deal with witches. Hold your tongue, Russell. Yeah, there's orange and there's yellow and there's striped. Most anticipated veggie for 2025, radishes? They are all fur coat and no knickers, as the Brits say. Destiny Fitzgerald, tell us more. There's globe, there's French, there's icicle, there's daikon, there's colors. There's so many different ways to do a radish. Got to get different radish seeds. I think I used half a gallon this year of honey is what we're talking about, maybe. You get them drunk and frost their wands. You get them drunk and frost their wands? That's the trick? Oh, where'd you get that? Nature's Finest is from Hinckley, Minnesota. This is a clover basswood honey. They have all kinds, and they offer sales and different types. So, gosh, was it Honey Hill Farms might be the website. If you look up Honey Hill Farms, Hinckley, Minnesota. Now, if you've got a beekeeper down the road or within your town, you do them first. That's what you're supposed to do. But they have such a good deal. Maybe the new radish seeds will actually grow the bulb part. Honey is good. Radishes are right next to the Brussels sprouts, says Russell. I'll take a nanny goat. Sharon, I'm sure I used at least a gallon of honey this year. Yeah, I go through a lot of maple syrup. We have local maple syrup. And I go through a lot of honey. Shadow Scout Swede. I usually eat honey as it is or have it in my tea. Yeah, it's excellent for your health. Keep a water spray on the cukes in the container gear. Look, we're gonna get him to grow some cucumbers. Silly Lily, I use honey in my baking rather than sugar. Keeps baked good, moist longer. It's a great idea. Radishes are hot as Hades when they grow. All different types turn out similar. Going to try icicle next. Russell says, my worst fear is when I engage in a war with my enemy and I start lobbing frozen Brussels sprouts at them. They start lobbing frozen radishes back at me. Radish is the most important seed you will ever own. We will talk about radish when I get to the spring planting. Mike's, I like watermelon radish. Oh, I forgot about that one. French breakfast. You're in a food desert because you're 5 minutes from downtown Minneapolis. The only radish says the only radish I have been growing of late is for the soil. Rambo. Bought as microgreens in bulk and expressed everywhere. Yeah, like broadcasted. They're like daikon, long. They're good for breaking up the soil. The organic field over by my offsite garden uses a mix of turnips, radish, collard greens, and it's so good for the soil, but man, does it reek when we're talking about acres of decaying cover crops. Somebody called the gas company because they thought there was a gas leak, and it was just the field doing its thing, making soil. Destiny says, gotta make friends with the local horticulture group here. They know how to create higher zone levels in their backyards, extending their season. Yep, their fruit trees are amazing. It'll be a year in May that I've had fruit trees, and so I haven't had a harvest on anything. Concrete jungle, right. Russell, if I'm a mob boss and I go into a meeting and my soldiers are armed with Brussels sprouts and I see my opponent's goons are armed with radishes, I get nervous. Russell's good at writing stories, everybody. Food, forest, permaculture. I am harvesting radishes tomorrow for the mobile food bank. You have more than you can use. Mike's, I've had people say I must live in New York watching my videos. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So annuals that might have reseeded themselves could be ready in spring. I'm not sure about this. I don't have much experience in this category. Oregano, rosemary, sage, thyme, mint, lovage, tarragon were things that were on a list. We need to be able to grow indoors, right? So a way you can do that is you can have, I don't want to spill anything, seeds in a jar, and for day one, I had filtered water. So this is 1 tablespoon of seeds, and I had filtered water to here, and I just let them soak overnight. In the morning, I drained them. I have this special lid with a sieve on it. It's made of stainless steel, and it never rusts. It's a 316 lid. It's in the description below. You drain it out, and then you just leave it without water in it, and every day, it's called rinsing. You put the filtered water in, swirl it around, dump it out. And you probably can't see this, but they're starting to sprout. And once they have a long enough sprout, I will eat them. You can also grow microgreens. So I have them in dirt in a 5x5 tray. This is an Italian Amano blend. There's lots of ways. I had another one. Here we go. I think this one's chard. So it's regular seeds. You just buy a bunch of them. So like if I let this grow up as its adult version, it would make that plant. It's the same seed. Microgreens isn't like a specific seed. And then mushrooms. So for your sprouts, you have alfalfa, mung bean, broccoli, radish. You can sprout anything you can do a microgreen with too. So microgreens, there's basil blends, beet blends, sunflower seeds. I have a short on that. Italian blends, watercress, mild mix, mellow mix, Asian blend, and then mushrooms. I have a short on that. I grew golden oyster mushrooms inside. You can buy blocks or spray kits from North Spore, which I think is linked in the description below. Lion's mane, pink oyster, and then there's hashtag WIG 2024. If you want to participate, you make a video of you planting a seed indoors and add that hashtag to the video and post it. They as in GT Junior, Grows at Alaska, and Mike's Chaotic Gardening have this wonderful opportunity for everybody, and it goes until April, where you can participate. And if you don't want to participate, you can simply just type in hashtag WIG 2024 in the search box. It's going to show you an image of a big picture of a hashtag with those words. Click that, and you'll get to see all the different people growing indoors, all the different ways during this time. So another way we are working with our hunger gap is by foraging during the year and storing them, or maybe there's something you can forage in the spring. So ramps, which are wild leeks, nettles, chickweed, dandelion roots and flowers, sorrel, fireweed, morel mushrooms. A lot of people dry them so they can use them later. Fiddleheads, puffball mushrooms, saps and syrups, your honeys. These are all things we need to squirrel away and have knowledge about to feed ourselves, right? So here's an example of what a fiddlehead fern is. You probably know what the fern plant is. This is the fiddlehead that comes before that thing opens. It's the tender tip of a fern before it unfurls into a beautiful lacy plant, common in like shady places around houses and forests. Don't go picking any common fern, calling it a fiddlehead, because with all plants, there's something that's edible and there's something that's not. The best varieties for eating are the western sword fern, lady fern. What does it taste like? Fresh, grassy, herbaceous asparagus with a crisp, meltingly tender texture. Clean them well in cold water, parboil to take the edge off, saute in butter for a side dish to go next to your cod or lamb. It is rich in antioxidants, high in omega-3s, omega-6 fatty acids, and chock full of fiber. Next is your stinging nettles. Now, this is a staple in my house for myself, for lady things. So handle with care. Stinging nettles will sting you. You should wear gloves. So does it say how to prepare it? There's a soup, a pasta. They put it in salad. See, I make a tea. They're 5 times the nutrients of spinach. They have lots of minerals. Pretty sure you have to blanch them to get them to not be stingy. I don't know. It doesn't say. That's what they look like. Ramps. This is something I want to add to my food forest, grocery garden areas. I'm pretty sure it'll grow here. Everything says it will. They are darling of the best chefs across the country, also known as wild leeks. Tender allium, oniony, garlicky, leaky flavor. The whole ramp from the bulb to the leaf tip can be used in pesto, sauce, fillings, soups, grilled. Can go with eggs like chives. You know how chives go with eggs? The simple combination of asparagus, ramps, peas, butter, and lemon is a dish example here that they're talking about. Rich in vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals that cleanse the body and strengthen the immune system. And it's a really nice transition from winter to spring because nature knows what's best. So here are the recipes that this article talked about, which is in the description below. You have your quick growing in spring. As soon as the ground is ready, you've got radish seeds, your lettuce is going out, your mustard greens, your beets, harvest the greens, your tatsoi, your komatsuna. I got to figure out where we're at here because it never stays where I want it to. Okay, that one was Mike with the New York comment. Yep. CR says sprouting my interest. Howie's going to be right back. Raspberry Rock says, holy crap, is a society developing in there? Mike says, nothing returns for me except peppermint and walking onions. Everything else is annuals. So do you grow lemon balm, Mike? I have radish seeds for sprouts, going to try sprouts and growing some out. They're kind of spicy. Radish sprouts. But I have a really low tolerance for spice. Howie came back. All right. Yes, hashtag indoor crew. That's right. Sprouts are tasty. Prepare them well. I do have shorts about sprouts and microgreens. Check them out. Check them out on my channel. Holy basil is nice sprouts, I imagine. Enjoy being. Haven't done microgreens for a while. I did them in full-size seed trays. Then after harvesting, dropped the whole tray into the garden, like ready lawn, and some would continue growing. Yes. Corn microgreens, which I never heard of. Was it with your husband the other day that I heard about it? Or maybe you were in another chat and somebody was talking about it, and I was like, corn microgreens? No way. Howie says, interesting. No one grows all their own food on your poll. What are we at on the poll here? What percentage of your annual produce is from your own garden? 0 to 25 was 24%. The hot spot is 25 to 50%. 59% of people said that. 17 votes. There's 22 watching possibly. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. 50 to 75% said was 18% of those people. Nobody, zero was 75 to 100. It's hard. It is hard. So for me, 5 people plus like maybe I want to share with other family to grow enough to not go to the store, to only go to the local dairy, to only go to the local apple orchard, to only go to the local, takes some work, right? Sunflower seed microgreens are crazy delicious. Yes, who would have thought? I love them so much. Seems like another group used that hashtag recently. It's all over the place. CR says, I'm trying to increase the number of sprouting seeds. Okay, Mike says, hashtag WIG 2024. If you click the hashtag button, it's us, not hair. Yeah, there is stuff that comes up with hair, so follow his instructions. Silly Lily says, fiddleheads are delicious. I've never had one. Mike says, I had fiddlehead stir fry over rice, and it was delicious. Stinging nettle tea is very nutritious. Yes, I have a tincture and the tea, and I mix it. It's not just stinging nettle. It's a specific blend for hormonal women situation. Gear says some wilted watercress sounds good. I would like to get better at growing watercress because I hear about all the benefits from it. I have a fish tank, so I mean I might have to figure that out, growing it in my fish tank. You would think by the way people critique others on YouTube, there would be more than that do. So she says to Howie, pickled ramps? Oh, I never even thought of that. Pickling them, because we pickle the scape from the hardneck garlic, and that's delicious. Good for joints too. Ramps have some weird process you need to do for the seeds. Chill, then warm, then chill, or something from memory. So I haven't got around to sewing them. So I just recently researched about ramps because at first I thought it grew from like a bulb, but then I discovered no, it shoots up a flower drops a seed. So I haven't looked into how do I get this thing here? Like, can I buy already started ramps? Am I having to start them from seed? Is this going to take 5 years before I get one? I have no clue, but I want to do it. I don't think they're a thing in the South. 7 to 10 years? What? It's 7 to 10 years? Oh, that's discouraging, but I'm going to be around, so I should get them started yesterday. It never returned. Okay, see, like my lemon balm is in the house. I never have put them directly outside because it's a mint. And I mean, I guess I'd kind of be okay with lemon balm taking over a patch somewhere, but I don't know what to do. Ramps grow like crazy in the forest behind my house. You're lucky. You have a delicacy. You could be selling that to chefs for money, Barry. Destiny Fitzgerald, Shawnee, are you in a shed or a pantry? This is the backdrop to my stage here. We have onions, potatoes, squash. This is calendula that is infusing in an oil to then strain and make like a lotion or a salve out of. The squash is amazing. And then these were beans that I grew and dried to have a protein source. And it's been wonderful. I kind of never want to buy canned beans again, because once you grow fresh your own beans, like, oh, the flavor and the texture, and it's just so much better than the canned beans at the store. Oh wow, corn microgreens. Got it. Yeah, right. What? I have old corn seed from someone giving them to me, and now like I should grow them into microgreens. My sage tree. Sidebar. I wish I could have a bay leaf tree. That would be cool. Sage tree is on its 4th season. Oregano just won't stop. That's amazing. I don't remember what zone you're in though. Chef Tech, what zone are you in? Carol says, me too. I saw a woman brushing her hands over some. She said afterward it helped her arthritis. Oh, are we talking about the stinging nettle? Yeah, there's some kind of reaction that helps. It tells the body, hey, send more stuff here, and it heals, right? Oh, what? We're living on one vegetable is not ideal. Like, are we using our brains or just what we think we want for that question? Anything more than 0 is a positive step. Yes, grow every day in every way, however you can. Or get involved with a local CSA, a community-supported agriculture box of produce that you can pick up on the farm, or a drop spot that they will grow for you. And then, or go directly to a farm and buy like a bulk of whatever. Like maybe it's just a potato farm or just a sweet corn farm. All microgreens is the regular seed overseeded. People think microgreens are special seeds. Drives me crazy. Sellers love to promote that line. I know. If you want to buy a bunch of bulk seed, I think True Leaf Seed or True Leaf Market is the one that's pretty decent. They don't rip people off. It might be in the description below. I tried to harvest a fiddlehead. The band was pretty perturbed. So it was still like this, and you couldn't cut it and get it out, is what that means. Bayou Sugar Garden, welcome to the Hunger Gap conversation. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Destiny says, is it ramps that the Scots used to eat during the Hunger Gap? I don't know. Somebody look that up and let us know. Carol says, I take advantage of their lower prices for bulk at a good price. Yes, happy, healthy New Year. It says 7 to 10 years from seed. Oh my goodness. Are they easily transplantable? Like if I go find some in the woods, can I just like scoop them up and take them into mine? Well, I gotta try it this year then to get it going. Good grief. That's nothing like an Egyptian walking onion. Egyptian walking onion's like right that year. Enjoy being. This is a great time in here. Much needed injection of inspiration. Thank you all. Oh, thank those so nice. Such kind words you have. Very nice stage props. Is that all of them? I think I shared all of them. This is a strawberry rhubarb situation. And then this is ground cherry jam. I'm hoping my ground cherries will have volunteers. They should. Howie says sweet tubers and bulbs I could eat forever. Camas grows wild here and is 45% sugar and was used as money. The trade route went all the way to Florida and as far as Saskatchewan. Howie also lives by an ocean, so he has all the things he needs. Does my husband feel about your traveling? So normally he's in here. If you've ever seen Mushroom Mark, that's my husband. But he has to go back to work tomorrow. He had today off for the holiday, and he was like, if I'm awake, I'll say hi. And I said, you're not going to be awake. There's no way you're going to be up when I start this. So he watches the replay while he's at work, and he tells everybody he knows about my YouTube channel until it's a little annoying. So he's very supportive. He actually helped me set this up. He likes helping do the stuff in the background. How does he feel about it? He likes seeing me be me. We've had a lot of things going on in the last year, and so my how do I say this? My mood isn't always the best day to day. And so when I come on here, I kind of get to have fun. I get to interact with people. I like to have a good time. So he gets to see all that through this, and He doesn't have to be the only one that listens to me gab about gardening, because all I've been with him 15, 16 years. It's just been me talking his ear off about gardening. So he's like, "Go for it. Tell everyone but me about all the." He's going to watch this tomorrow. I don't know what he's going to say about my answer. You're 5A. Oh, okay. It's South Central PA. I'm supposed to be 5A. I was 4B. Okay, that was in regards to growing what? What were we talking about? I can't remember. We are blessed with a farmer's market shed and a nearby town's huge greenhouse that sells fresh veg all year. Yeah, I don't think you should have to do it alone at all. That is not my channel's point at all. Yes, I want to encourage you to grow food every day in every way, but I just want to teach people how to be connected. Like at some point in a live stream, maybe we'll show in my state, I can go to a website and it shows me where all the farms are that are registered, I guess. And it'll filter it if you want organic or not, if you want it to, if they have a CSA or not. I'm assuming every state has that. I don't know, actually. Oh, that's right. We were talking about oregano and your sage tree. Okay, it's coming back to me. Mike's, turnips, one vegetable, tops for greens, salads and stews, bulbs for roasting, chips, fries, mash. Okay, did anybody else answer what their one vegetable is? Did Russell say what his one vegetable is and I just haven't gotten that far in the chat yet? Just in my raised bed on the ground too. Enjoy being. I should have got married and had an army of little gardeners. Being a one-man fork wielder is not necessarily where it is at. An army of little gardeners? That's so cute. Corn microgreens can be grown with lights, green, or without lights. They'll be yellow. That is so cool. Oops. Hello, all. Welcome to our Hunger Gap conversation. We're almost to the end of it. Mike's Chaotic Gardening. Yes. Sunshine. If I see pack of 20 seeds, same price as a pack of 500 microgreens, I'll buy the micro and then grow full-size plants. Yes. So, insider tip secrets right here. If it's labeled for microgreens, you can still grow it and have it fully mature as its normal sized plant. You just space it out properly. Excuse me. CR. What am I at? Have I had 13 lives? 11 lives? I'm not counting. I don't know. So much more to say. Hi, Mr. Shawnee. Mushroom Mark. Oh, yes. Get your rest. You have to work in the morning. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good evening. What are my meals for tomorrow? I have a bunch of pulled pork that I have pre-cooked. And so your options are whip up a taco, make a pork barbecue sandwich. I can't make egg rolls right now because I don't have any cabbage and I'm low on carrots. I have chicken Alfredo. In the menu, we had made chili with tomatoes from the garden, beans from the garden, peppers, onions from the garden. Obviously, I didn't grow the cow and the pig. That was somebody else. We do buy local, though. I actually don't have a lot of planning going on. I usually have eggs for breakfast, which someday I will have chickens. And we'll see where that goes. Hey, Beltloop 29. Good to see you. Happy New Year. How's your weather? Potatoes are berries, one vegetable to live on. That's a classic answer. People have been proven to live off of just potatoes. Yes, hello to Gary. That's Beltloop29. Check out his channel. You're in the wrong outfit. Oh, are you going to come back as your... Gear says it's early yet. Gear, everyone has to go back to their life tomorrow. It's not Friday night. It's Wednesday night. Late night hunger. Save the seed. Yes. That is it's another conversation entirely of saving your own seeds and what that does of adaptive agriculture and it's free and understanding when that plant is going to seed and how to store the seed, how to harvest the seed. Maybe you're growing it to eat the seed. You know, we talked about all the grains earlier. Newfound Drone Productions, how is it going? Welcome to our end of the live about Hunger Gap. Check the replay out to see all the lovely information. I have a couple points left to make, and then we're gonna have to shut it down. I'm so sorry. Howie says, fantastic village you have here, Shawnee. Cama bulbs is my veggie that I like the most. So sweet. I don't even think I've ever heard of that. See ya, Earthlings. It was so good to see you, Howie. Rest well. I'll see you again sometime soon. Check out each other's channels. Everybody's awesome. Gear, I'm supposed to work tomorrow night. If I ain't feeling any better, I probably won't go in. If you do not feel better, do not make yourself go. Your health is more important than your job. Oh. What? I'll have to look into this. That's disappointing to hear. I wonder how I got it. I'm gonna have to look it up in my email and see how I got it. And if they don't exist anymore, I have to make a new plan. Sometimes your nature center will sell honey and maple syrup. Obviously, check your farmers markets. I know there's a bunch of local beekeepers, but it was just so convenient because they shipped it to my house. Enjoy Being says goodnight to Howie. CR is going to be out at the top of the hour, which is very soon. Beltloop tried to switch to the Homestead channel, but I wasn't subbed, so I had to. Oh, yes, the whole 20-minute thing. It's really hard to wait 20 minutes. I know. I know. Thank you for subbing on that one. So next time you can come in with that. I really appreciate that. And you're at work right now. Oh, thanks for tuning in while you're working, keeping things secure. And it's so nice to see everybody tonight. Oh, let's see. Oh, CR says need a lot of seeds for microgreens. Yes. Carol says not a veggie, but a tuber. I would say true yams. Isn't that a veggie? You can't call that a veggie? Or sweet potatoes would be her one veggie to grow, to eat for what was the question Russell said? To survive? He didn't use the word forever. If you only had to eat one veggie, what would you grow or eat? Okay, I think that's what it was. Good night, Silly Lily. Thank you for being here. Good night, Destiny. Thank you for being here. Bisous all. I have to look up camas. We have canna bulbs. Yeah, camas. I gotta look that up too. If you miss work, that's $400 that won't be in my pocket. Yeah, and you just will cut things back for that little bit of time because your health is more important. Good night, Kentucky Goblin. Yes, Shadow Scout Sweet is awesome. He's usually live on Saturdays. Check out his channel. Your cat Phoenix is in your lap. And you're stuck there. Mike's Googling it right now. Checking it out. What is this bulb that we speak of? Thank you. Yes. It's a hyacinth plant? What? He's eating a... I don't know. I think 5 minutes should keep out the trolls. Just thinking out loud. Sorry, I'm not complaining. I'm just old. Not much time left. I want to make the most of every minute. Now I like feedback. It's good to express if you have an opinion, and I receive it, and I appreciate. He's talking about Loop. Yes, Dad passed away in July. Oh, sister-in-law lost her unborn son. It's been pretty stressful. I hear you. 2024 was one of my most stressful years as well. And we are very sorry to hear all those things. Hugs through the internet. And Beltloop has things he's facing as well. I love oca, sometimes called New Zealand yams, but I would probably just grow sweet potatoes if I only had one thing. Eat the leaves and the tuber. That's kind of the thing we need to do. You need to grow the thing that you can eat all the parts, right? Shh. sharing some stories about some past experiences on why we have settings the way we do. Yes. I put out prayers to the spirits. Okay, so last couple of things here. So keep these ideas in mind that we talked about tonight for all the different categories for our hunger gap. When you're planning your growing season, join us live for How to Plant Out the Garden coming soon. We're going to look at free versions of apps and websites and tools and your good old pen and paper. Like, how do you plan it out? If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe for more gardening chats in the future. And just a quick note, I focused on the northern hemisphere, particularly with my growing zone 4B 5A tonight when I was honing in on specific types of plants. The southern hemisphere regions and tropical areas can vary significantly. They have extreme heat. You need to focus on your local conditions when you're planning how to get yourself through when the cold season stored crops are running low and the fresh stuff in the spring isn't available to harvest yet. You might be able to plan ahead enough to have enough for the winter. You grew enough squash and beans and you've canned enough tomatoes and you know how to create meals around all of that. You have enough popcorn, you have enough grain, you have enough, so you don't have this hunger gap situation, right? So check out the description for all the links to the articles. And there's items for gardening and preserving in there. Tools that I have, tools that I want, things that will help you keep your really hard work of growing edible longer, preserving. We're going to read the last couple comments here. One, it's early yet. Two, marigolds. Gear. Oh, Newfound Drone Productions. I think I have a problem. I want another indoor citrus tree. Oh, you don't have a problem. That sounds like a wonderful idea. You get yourself another indoor citrus tree. Jamaica, thank you. I did not know that about microgreens. Oh, I love when we have new information for people's ears. I'm looking for the gear doesn't want the link posted. Okay, take note, everybody. Hugs for Shadow Scout Swede. Belt Loop is out of here. Thank you for stopping by. He likes the number 29. Yes. Oh, CR. Take care. Be cool and stay frosty. Also, I forget. Be nice to stuff. Okay. Grow every day in every way. Learn as you grow. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Goodbye.